and welcome to Supernatural Lifeline Revelations. I am your host, Prophetess TNT, Taryn Nicole Tarver, and today I am so excited and I'm so honored to be able to present to you a woman who has changed my life. She didn't even know she changed my life. It's like everyone has their Oprah. Well, this woman of God is my Oprah. She literally has written so many books, 18 to be exact at this moment, but I have purchased almost every book she has, and every time I read her books, my life is changed. It's one of those people that you know God is anointed and appointed to transform your life. So to have her on my set today, have the show here with her, is an amazing honor for me. I would like to present to you and present to some and others, Miss Deborah Smith-Pegues.
Hi, Prophetess.
Hi.
I'm so delighted to be with you and your team.
Me too. Oh,
I was just complimenting you because your people are just so caring and hospitable, and you just don't see that. And they're young.
Yes.
Totally about service, and that's got to reflect your heart.
You know, I read about a lot of that in your books, and I've really tried to impart that to the children. And there's times I remember when it was like, okay, you guys, so we stepped it up a notch, and you're not that outfit's nice for the weekend, but you can't wear that when we're going. You can't work with millionaires and billionaires and not look like one. So guys, we're gonna change, and like even down to like little haircuts, and I think it's tedious. And I remember we were going to our first day in our new building at Revelation Church, and it's like 46,000 square feet. It was a major upgrade for us. It was amazing. In the building we walked in, and my daughter was supposed to ask her to do announcements. I said, honey, I said, I'm gonna need you to put these stockings on. She's like, stock what? What? Stockings.
She's like, do they still sell those?
I was like, yeah, I got some for you right here. I said, they're nude color. So, you know, you put them on, you can't see through your skin, so you really can't tell, but I'm gonna need you to put those on. And so it was so funny because we've really been working and to leave an inheritance where everywhere I go that they are seen that way is such an honor. So thank you so much for your compliment.
It's very noticeable.
Oh my goodness. Well, not to mention you've written 18 books.
Yeah.
You've also, you have a CBA, PA and an MBA, certified from John Maxwell School of Leadership, behavioral consultant, Bible teacher, global speaker. Not to mention you've been on tons of platforms. You've helped so many people doing workshops, and during 2018 and 19, you hosted 36 episodes of a popular show, Winning with Deborah, on the NBC, TBN Salsa Network. Also a former MCA, Universal Studios Inc. VP. You have done so many things in business, and I love how you mix biblical and practical together. Because a lot of people they're like, oh, I want to do ministry, but they have no experience in corporate America and dealing with people to know how to bring people together. So they're going off of their own ideas, and they're going off of their own emotions, as opposed to really having practical wisdom. Now, this is where you've helped me. One of the things you didn't know, but that literally I got connected with you like several years ago when you were doing with Bishop Ed, his Zoe Christian Fellowship, their marriage retreat. And I was like so excited. I went and bought every book you had on the table. Taming Your Tongue.
We love people like you.
Oh, I'm telling you. If I even go and I just saw your new one on social media. I said, I need to get this. I don't even know what she's talking about, but every time you're talking, you are dropping such wisdom, and you make me think, and I know you have divine revelation from God, and I know it's a grace from God.
Well, it's a grace from God, but I want to add something to my resume that you left off.
Please, tell me.
I was a 75-cent an hour motel maid.
I was getting there. Come on now. Now, I don't know if anybody just heard what she said. 75 cents
an hour
motel maid. Now, she's been married for 41 years to an amazing, awesome man of God. They're a great team. But listen here. How do you go from 75 cents an hour, a hotel maid, to being a global icon? Literally, how do you do that?
It's part of God's divine plan. And unless I sound like I'm warning y'all right now, I may sound like a walking Bible, but the Bible is so integral to my heart.
Yes.
But listen, all the days ordained for me were already written in God's book. You see, so I don't have to worry about that. And I've been a team player, all of that, because just the grace of God. And you know, I'm not trying to sound extra spiritual, but it is the grace of God, because I grew up at a time when you couldn't even go to you know, it was like I was 14 before they integrated public facilities. We
Right.
had to go to separate restrooms and, you know, and the schools were segregated and all of that. So I know what it means not to have access.
Right.
But through all of that, I knew that God had a plan for me. I'm going to be the exception to all this
So
stuff.
when you were a maid, at that time, a hotel maid, what were your thought patterns? What was your thinking? What were you saying to yourself? If you knew that God had a plan for you, what did you begin to do?
I said, that's not it.
You hear that? This ain't it.
This ain't it, all right?
You might be in a relationship right now, and it don't look like God, and you're wondering, this isn't it.
This is not it, okay.
This house you live in,
Yeah.
this is not it.
Yeah, this
that
is
car
not
you
it.
might be driving,
Right.
that ain't it.
This is temporary stuff to make me appreciate later, because that was my motivation. I was so motivated.
Oh, my
I was so
goodness.
motivated not to be in a bad relationship, abusive relationship like my mom was in, before she had to tolerate that. She didn't have a way out. That was it for her.
Wow.
You see, because she was a maid too. She was, you know, so when
She had to.
she had to do
it.
that.
She
But
had
I
to
said, look,
do it.
I'm 16 years old. I'm going to be 17. I can just get on the right track now. And I did, and I just, you know, through the scriptures. Let me tell you, I got so much to tell you.
God, please.
Well, let me just say
impart
this.
to me.
Let me just say this. And I don't mean to make this a racist show or anything, because most of my friends don't look like me, believe it or not.
Right.
But there's a scripture in Isaiah 14:27 that says, all the days ordained for me. Well, no, that's Psalms 139:16. But it says, when the Lord has purpose, that's what Isaiah 14:27. Behold, the Lord has purpose. Who can thwart him? Who can thwart his plan for me? Nobody. So that makes me a team player.
For me.
You know, you don't have to have a scarcity mentality and not help people, and you know, I'm gonna keep my little things a secret, so,
Right. So
I don't want
nobody
you to
comes
know
and
them.
takes mine, or
Yeah, it's
nobody
like,
knows.
girl, I share everything.
I do too.
Yeah, I know you
oh,
do.
I love it. And
Yeah.
people don't like it. They say, you should be making money, do that. You should do this. I was like, look, I don't know how to do that part. Like, money's gonna come, and
Yeah.
it has.
Yeah.
But I was like, all I know is to give them what I know.
Yeah.
And I love that. You
Yeah.
know, you were writing, and before I want to get to your husband and some of the transforming things that you've done in your life. I've had to keep going back and buying your book, by the way, Lead Like a Woman, you guys. Literally, I did 2 days teaching and transformed everybody just from like 3 pages.
Oh my goodness. You know, that was God. I started to stop writing this book. It was just, oh goodness, it was so hard. But I'm learning that when something is really hard, get excited.
When something is really hard, get excited.
It's
Are you
going to be
hearing this?
powerful. It's going to be
gonna
powerful.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
Press through it.
Yeah.
Get past the emotions, the feelings, the tears, and get into the
Yeah.
into the meaning of what God has for you. So, you were writing one of the books, and what was I reading? Which one was this one? Oh, Confronting Without Offending.
Oh yes, one of my favorites.
My favorites too. And then I got your new one, the other one about confronting as well too. But I haven't read it before I even got a chance to read it. I am a big giver. I gave that one away. So I just told my assistant yesterday, I said, I'm gonna need you to go back online and get me 3 more books.
Oh my goodness.
But I can't help them. If I can't help someone give me an answer, then there's no purpose in me coming in your life.
Sure.
So I was reading it,
Okay.
and you started talking about these women, the daughters of Zelophehad.
Oh gosh.
This is one of my favorite.
Mine too.
books. Oh my goodness. And it was like, you said they had a plan, they went, they presented it, they weren't emotional, they weren't all over the place, they asked the right person.
That's
and
right.
their good leader went and asked God, he said, the women are right. And I went back and dissected that changed my life.
Yes, let's give the background on that in case somebody doesn't know.
Right, go
This
ahead.
was right before they entered the promised land, and women couldn't inherit property.
Yes.
But these ladies had no men in their lives. Their father had died, they had no husbands, no brothers. And so they went to Moses and said, listen, our father died, but hey, we want an inheritance. Give us what our uncles would get. And God said, I'm like, wait a minute. Moses took it to God, and God says, yep, they're right.
One of the things that you said about that made people understand that there was the law of Moses, but he's like a governor. And Moses understood that he was governing people and their laws were their laws,
Yes.
but that didn't mean that they were exactly what God's heart was.
Yes.
Everything was God's heart. And people have a hard time dissecting rightfully dividing that.
Yeah.
And what that scripture breaks it down really well, because he sought the Lord to ask God,
Yes.
and God said, the women
All right. I'm like, whoa, that's what I said.
A leader that's a good leader will take it to God.
Yes.
And will get the right answer and give you what is required of you.
Right, and he didn't say the rule is the rule. The
No.
law is the law.
I said this. and I thought, oh my goodness, you changed my whole life. So that's one of the reasons when I'm reading your books, you have such a revelation, anointing of revelation, and that can only come from God, a spirit of revelation.
I asked for it. I asked for it every step of the way. I asked for it.
Can you just pray for impartation for everybody watching real
I
quick?
asked for it.
Impartation of divine revelation.
And the reason is because there come a time in your life when there's a demand on you that you're not experienced for and you don't have the education for it. Just like Daniel was when he was required to interpret a dream that the man couldn't even remember. Now, he was skilled in interpreting, but he wasn't skilled in reading minds. And so I like it when I just like to hear when he said, God gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those who have understanding. So I always declare that. God, whenever I'm facing something I don't quite have the revelation on, he says, he reveals deep and secret things. He knows what's in the darkness. The light dwells with him. Oh, I'm thinking like, yeah, this is good. The light dwells with him. As long as I go to him, the light, the revelation, whatever I need, God has it. I don't have to walk in self-confidence. I'm so glad. I stopped long time, stopped working on self-confidence. I don't want any. Confidence means with trust. With trust in self. The Bible says if you trust in yourself, you're a fool. So well, I like to walk in divine wisdom, and I just say, God, give it to me. Give it to me.
God, give it to me.
Doesn't have to be resident.
God, give it to me.
That's the message for women, because we won't try things unless we are already skilled in it. You know, we don't like to step outside of that, you know, for the masses don't. But when you do it, you're going to go to another whole level.
Whole level. And truth is, you really need God. If you can do it on your own, then it's probably not God.
And apart from him, you can do nothing.
Nothing.
See, I live right there in that space where it says, apart from me, you can do nothing. Because see, I'm the type, I like to try to do, I really do like to try to do it on my own and be ready. But I'm like, I'm telling you, life will demand things of you that you won't be ready for.
You won't be ready for.
You won't be ready for, but you got to show up.
I was just talking to someone about that the other day. I was saying like how people who, you can have a crisis and you still have to show up. And I was saying like, I gave an example. I said, you know what? I said one time my daughter had meningitis. She almost died. And I walked her in the doctor's office. He looked at her and said, she needs to be in the hospital right now. And I have two babies, one that I've just finished breastfeeding and another one with me. And I'm trying to take care of the one that they said could die right now. And I said, I still had to get the boys situated while I was helping the child that's about to die. And then I was saying, there's a parent who found out one child died and maybe this kid is about to get out of school in an hour. So what do they have? They still have to make sure the kid that's going to get picked up gets picked up. And then this one over here that they're mourning for, you still have to find that inner strength inside of you to do what you're supposed to do, to be responsible.
And to know it's in there. It is in you to do it. I like what you just said with that. Because you know what? When we feel overwhelmed, I always say if you feel overwhelmed, you're carrying it. You see, when you feel like, oh, it's just too much, I can't handle it. Oh, don't ever say you can't handle it. Yes, you can.
Absolutely.
You can. That's why you cast it. You know what cast means? Toss it quickly.
Toss it quickly.
Yeah, you just say, God, listen, you have it. Just tell me what to do next. Give me my next step.
Give me my next step.
Because I got to do something. Give me my next step.
And so do you find that, okay, when he says acknowledge me in all your ways, I think people think like some of my ways or a few of my ways or one or two of my ways, but really all of my ways, when you literally say, okay, God, I'm here, now what? Now what's next? When you start incorporating that into a relationship and start asking every step of the way, do you find that your answers begin to come
Absolutely.
to you?
And sometimes I have been so overwhelmed, quote, I didn't say I was, but the circumstances were so pressing until I had to live hour by hour.
Hour by hour.
What do I do the next hour?
What do I do in the next hour?
My mom died 5 days after my husband's cancer surgery, which was 3 days after we just had his brother's funeral, which was like the third sibling in 18 months to die.
Wait. So the third sibling in 18 months died.
My husband had cancer surgery on Friday. My mom died on Wednesday.
After his brother died, and your mom died on Wednesday.
Yeah, and I had a book due and a speaking engagement that I couldn't cancel because I had to cancel the people of the previous year. I'm like, I can't do that. I got to show up. And so I just said, and I had to plan the funeral. And I did the eulogy, the whole 9 yards. I just said, God, what do you want me to do next? I remember going into my garage and just turning all the lights off. And I said, I receive your strength for the hour.
I receive your strength.
I receive your strength just for the hour. Show me what to do next. Because everything doesn't have to be done this minute.
And people sometimes feel like they'll look at me and I've been through, I don't definitely look like what I've been through. And so they think that sometimes they're like, do you ever feel? I said, yeah, I said, I haven't cried in a long time, but last week I cried. I went into my bathroom and I cried, but I still had a tax appointment and I still had this to do. And I got in the car and I called my best friend real quick. She wasn't available, so I called on Jesus and I kept on driving. And then I came back and I was like, I had to learn to press through. And what I did was I did what the word told me to do, in spite of my own feelings. How do people get past their feelings and conquer even when you don't feel like you can on the inside?
Well, don't listen to feelings. Feelings are tricky.
Come on now, let's talk about it.
Just go with what you know. You know, sometimes I say I draw a line in my mind. Here's the sense realm, then here's the faith realm. And now sense is what all I can make sense of. I'm rationalizing, you know, and there are facts that are real. You know, I always tell everybody, don't let facts spoil your faith.
Wow.
Don't let the facts spoil your faith.
Don't let the facts spoil your faith.
Yeah. So you got to be like Abraham. You know, you don't consider those things right now. Just say, Lord, listen, I had to tell the devil last week because, I mean, I had to submit a keynote address to a really popular church in New York. It happened on Mother's Day. The equipment wouldn't work. And when I finally got it worked, finally got the message done. But before I got the message done, I just had to call a friend. I said, listen, there's satanic oppression going on over here. I need you to pray it off of me. Just pray it out of here. Pray it out of here. And she did.
Strong people have strong people that you can call and say, can you pray this off of me?
Yes, you have to. That's, you know, the Bible says a brother is born for adversity. A sister is too. That's why I say don't suffer in silence. Don't be too proud and too spiritual to say, I don't want them to think I don't have any faith. I said, girl, listen, this thing is wearing me out, and I got to get this thing to this man. I got to get this video to these people. I got it all done. She prayed. It was done in 25 minutes. I had worked on it for days. She prayed, and I did it in one take in 26 minutes. So that's when it was.
2 is better than 1.
Yes.
So God will give you purpose people. Even when I felt pressured last week, my best friend, she works all the time. She's overwhelmed. She owns these group homes too, and she does sex trafficking, helping people out of sex trafficking. And so she has such a heart for burdened people, but when they come, they're damaged. So one of them had set fire at the facility. Another one's breaking things because she couldn't get her way. And so she says, I'm not going to go back today. You know what? Let's go to San Diego.
Yeah, that's good.
And we got up. And we just got this little 2 of us, you know, and it's so funny because they had it was a giant room with 3 balconies, but they had a Murphy bed. So we were like, okay, we're just going to do this. What was crazy is it was divine by God because the first night she went to sleep, Spirit of God said 12:30, get up and pray. I walked the floors and prayed for 3 hours.
Whoa.
Do you know the next night I'm dead asleep and she's up walking the floors and praying, and we didn't even talk. It was no communication, but I felt refreshed. We didn't really do a lot. We just it was like, but we seemed to be always on the same page. And I said, wow, you know what you did for me? It's that song like by Bette Midler, You're the Wind Beneath My Wings. You know, you really helped me to be able to reign. You helped me to be able to I could cry, to conquer, to win. And you have to have that person that even when I'm in feelings, she'll be like, we're not going to talk about that anymore. We're just going to be unbothered. We're going to move, and we're going to move forward. Nope, we have too many things to do for the Lord. Nope, you know what, right now we're going to enjoy this. She was like, you know what we don't do ever? We're going to watch this TV.
Yeah. See,
I was like, what do you got me watching?
Yes, I've been watching comedies the last week. I just want to laugh now. I've just had so much pressure for the last 2 months. I just want to laugh and be silly, watch I Love Lucy reruns. And
oh, my goodness.
You know, that kind of stuff. Because getting away is important. That's spiritual, folks.
It is.
If you don't come apart, you're going to come apart. So coming apart is spiritual. That's what, when Jesus' disciples came back and told him all that they had done, I was expecting him to say, attaboy, you guys get out there and keep it up. He said, y'all need to go rest.
And even the prophet, being a prophet and being pulled on a lot and different things, a lot of times I can be overwhelmed. Like right now, I'm sure I have like 100 one-on-ones I haven't done. And I got to get to them. Then I have 5 children. And so my son is like, Mom, I haven't seen you. So I said, look, you guys, I got to go to Oregon. I have to go spend time with this boy. Because he's the one that sees me the least, right?
Okay.
And so he was like, you're coming? Like he was totally shocked,
that's
right?
so good.
But of course I said, well, let me extend the trip since I'm going. I'll just do it. So now I booked a ministry engagement today. And I have a second one I'll book. But I'm still going to see him. So I have my time with him. But if I'm going to travel, I might as well like do what I'm called to do.
You are redeeming the time.
I'm going to redeem the time. We're going to do some healing and deliverance and prophetic and let God use me in that region. So, but I was literally thinking about the prophet Elijah. So here he's just called down fire and he's from heaven and the prophets of Baal are trying to cut themselves and get everything to happen and nothing's happening for them and he's laughing at them and he kills all 400. Next thing you know, here comes one woman that puts him in fear, and he's running from the woman. So one day from the next, he's calling on fire. He's amazing. He's awesome.
Yes.
He's doing all these things. Then the next time he turned around, the next day, he's running from this woman. And so when he gets to the place he's ran to, the Lord says, you think God's going to be like, oh, yeah, come here. Let me touch your boo-boo. Let me help you. Instead, God says, what are you doing here? You're like, but God. And he was like, I'm the only one left. See, his brain had been so exhausted, so tired, so overwhelmed, till his brain had told him, I'm the only one that,
Yep.
and the Lord was so funny. Lord's answer got me. He said, like, don't fancy yourself. I have 7,000 that have not bowed their
Bow the
knee
knee.
to, you're just one I'm using, okay? And then he tells them, you know what you need? Take a nap and eat some food. Go, and then, you know what? We'll get back at it tomorrow.
And that's important, because right in the midst of being overwhelmed like that, self-care is so critical.
Self-care.
It really is.
Totally
You know, and worship is part of self-care, but eating and walking and talking to people,
Exercising.
all of that is part of self-care.
Yes.
And I'm really trying to get more committed to that.
I
You
am
know,
too.
I want quality of
me
life.
too.
You know, I don't want to just be ministering all the time.
Yes,
you know,
I
I want
understand.
quality of life.
I understand. I'm doing do some more of those things too. Literally, you had said something very key earlier. You mentioned your mother, how you saw that she had to endure an abusive relationship.
Mm-hmm.
She had to stay in that situation, and there was not more for her. But this pushed you
Yes.
to go and desire more. You've been married for 41 years.
42.
42 now.
Yes.
And tell me, like, when you were looking for the person that you could do purpose with, I call them purpose partners. I think we've all kissed a frog once or twice, or 3 times, for me, 5 times. And you pick the wrong situation, and you can feel overwhelmed by what you've seen in the past. How did you go about choosing this mate that God would have for you, and how have you learned to work together as a team throughout all these 42 years?
Well, first of all, I asked God to give me a man who would love him more than he loved me. I mean, I really meant it, because I was already had an MBA and CPA and all that, and the man I married, he was driving the bus when I married him.
He was driving a bus.
Yes. And I thought, oh, what are people going to say? I mean, at first I thought that.
Right.
And he had started school, but he hadn't finished or anything. And I had told God, I don't want anybody in school, okay? I don't want anybody in school. He gave me a great student. And he finished. But you know what? We both marched to the same drum beat. I mean, we're so opposite. I mean, we are totally opposite in every way, except we have God in common.
What do you mean? Like, you don't like the same music? You don't like the same
No,
movies?
he likes dangerous things. I like to save all the money. He likes to spend money, and you know, not just foolishly, but he's more balanced with life and trips and all this. And I'm like, I want this much left. You know how people say you should have 6 months money in the bank?
Right.
I want 2 years.
Right. I like you.
You know, so I'm not one to do all those things, but I like the fact that we both love the Word of God. We like talking about it. We like memorizing it. But most of all, we try to treat each other like we would treat Jesus.
That is so key.
Jesus, would I do that to Jesus?
Do that. Yes.
Yeah.
It's probably captured you. I was reading one day how you were saying how you had been calling him and he wasn't picking up, and he wasn't picking up, and he wasn't picking up, and he wasn't picking up. And then you're like, okay, and you had done all these things. You couldn't wait for him to get home, and all of a sudden he's out in the car and he's sitting there and he's still not picking up, and you're like, finally you said you started to get like,
he's on the phone in the car, like, why aren't you in the house talking?
You could have sent me a text and said something.
Right.
I was feeling you though. I was wanting to go in those emotions with you. And you were saying, explaining how God was dealing with you, and he had been ministering to someone else and some different things. And like you had to learn through your life experiences how to operate like the Word of God in the midst of what you want to say and what you want to do to yield to the God.
And you just got to take your eyes off yourself, but it doesn't help when you have that mindset and that person doesn't. So let's just put that out there.
So you need 2 people in their life.
Yeah, because I don't try to take big credit for us getting along well. We have the same values and priorities, and sometimes you just get somebody who doesn't want to walk in step with God. I always say everybody that's in step with God is in step with each other. I learned that in the band when I've never had much rhythm. But I was marching one day at the marching band, and I couldn't I was a majorette, and I kept looking. The man said, Smith, that was my maiden name. He said, stop looking at each other. Stop looking at the other people. You just get in step with the drum major. Everybody that steps with the drum major will be in step with each other. I said, that's a principle.
Principle.
So when my husband and I stay in step with God, we got rules. We don't yell at each other.
I like this.
None of that. Like I say, can you hear? Okay, I can hear. There's no need to raise voices.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
And my thing is like, I want to help you, because I'm a part of you, or if you're joined to me. I want to make a difference. You have to want to make a difference and want to get it right.
And you got to understand men too, because they need. I'm just gonna say this.
Go ahead.
They need a lot. They need a lot more affirmation than we do. Now you know that. And sometimes you just gotta go along.
My mom did not want my dad. My mom got remarried to my dad, and she didn't feel like she should have to give affirmations. And I was like this. She's like, no, those are for babies. I was like, Mom,
no.
You're killing him. Like, you have to, literally, you have to give affirmations to him. Can you talk about, I know they say we only have 4 minutes. If you could just talk about it real quickly and give some points you want to give.
Okay.
Because I have to have you back another time, or I'm going to come to you, because I need you so much more.
Here we go. In dealing with men,
let's talk.
Appreciate, communicate, serve. And you know, I like to tell my husband, I appreciate the fact that he comes home, that he brings this money home, pray together. And listen, I'm not one for keeping quiet for peace sake. I confront. We both confront, but we do it God's way. I'll say in a minute, you know, I don't like it when you did that. That made me feel this way. You know, I had to tell him something the other night. I mean, I want to share this story. I can't have children. And so he knew that 25 years, 40 years, whatever. I couldn't have children. I had a hysterectomy when I was 25. Big deal. Oh, too much information. But at any rate, we saw a little girl on television, and he said, oh. And later I told him, I said, you know, when you say that, that makes me think you're sad that I can't have children. And I said, that makes me angry because you knew I couldn't. He said, no, I was just admiring the beauty of the little girl. But see, if I hadn't said that and gone into my shell and I'm mad at him, so whatever I'm feeling that I don't like, I like to say, I said, I know you probably didn't mean it, but this is what it felt like to me.
I think that is wonderful that you can do that. And I think this is what we need more of. And at that moment, his response will determine, the person's response will determine if you're going to have a happy, harmonious home.
Yeah.
I can't even believe that time flew by me so fast because I just
Well, let me just say this about the book.
Please.
Okay, you got to get it because it has 12 traits God has given women that empower us to be great leaders, all right?
Yes.
So it's lead like a woman. First part, 12 traits that God has given us, inherent traits. Second part, 12 things we need to stop doing because it sabotages our progress. We are called to lead. We were born to lead.
Amen, amen, amen. You guys, we've been here today. I've given away more books than I can count. I can never make it all the way through because I want my notes, and I give it away because I should. You guys, lead like a woman, also taming your tongue in 30 days, and also you're having a better attitude in 30 days. She's got so many. Please look up Deborah Smith-Pegues. She is an awesome woman of God, and you can never go wrong by getting all of her books and get a life change and impartation. I'm so glad to have her here with us today. You've been watching Supernatural Lifeline Revelations. I'm your host, Prophetess TNT, Taryn Tarver, throwing you out this lifeline. Remember that your timeline is somebody else's lifeline. Please tag, share, and invite. We love you. God bless.